And then Linda, thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. You have no idea. Hassa has been talking about you all the time, so I'm so glad that we managed to secure some time with you.
Yeah, bless her for making this introduction. Thanks again.
I like to always describe or tell my guests to introduce themselves, because I feel like sometimes people just focus so much on the career side of things. But truly, who's Linda?
Yeah, that's a good question. I ask myself even sometimes because I have to say, who's Linda now, I guess.
Yeah.
Now I'm running a camel riding school, so this is my work. And I call myself with the driving force behind bringing a bit of innovation to the world of camels and the sport of camels, so that we can elevate it. And I want to bring people together from all walks of life, but the main interest and passion we share is the camels.
Yeah. And Linda, you are from Germany?
Yes. So I came here 10 years ago in 2015. And that Linda that came was an intern working in hotels. And I was chasing a career to just, develop fast, climb the corporate ladder in hospitality, which I really enjoyed. I had a good time. I worked for some of the biggest hotels in Dubai. And at the same time, I wanted to offset this world of work with some activities in nature. And that's when I discovered the camels through the desert. So the Linda that came is a little bit different than the Linda today.
But why the UAE? Why did you choose to come to the UAE? And were you specifically in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, or?
Yeah, so I think this answer is maybe surprising. I didn't actively choose to come to the Middle East. It was more like having a list of requirements when I chose my internship, and I crossed out all the countries and places that didn't fit. And then what was left was kind of was the UAE.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really my first choice, if I'm very honest. The main benefit I saw was that it's such a fast-growing place, and that you have literally all hospitality companies based here. The head offices are here. So it was a very strategic decision from a career perspective.
Yeah.
And I really thought, this is just my stepping stone. I'll be here 2-3 years. I'm going to work hard, stop being an intern and hopefully grow a little bit. And then I'll take all that experience and I go back or somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 years later and I'm still here.
You stayed.
Yes, and now I don't see myself going anywhere else.
You know, a lot of our community members, like from the international community that we have in the UAE and part of our community, the bigger community, they always say to me, Kauthar, initially we came here, we wanted just 2 years, international experience. And then this is now home, we stay here, we've started lives and businesses. And so then you fall in love with the desert and the camels.
I did, yes. It's just very captivating. And I think this is why the people, before they come, they think, 2 years is definitely enough. Because actually from the outside, we often don't see the depth and the richness that is the UAE, the communities, the cities, the people, the activities. It's so incredibly diverse. That's what eventually makes people stay. And for me, it was the desert and sort of that freedom that you can feel when you're outside.
Yeah. So which desert did you go in? Because I know you have a special story. You've spent a lot of time in the desert.
Yes. With the car, I started off-roading, in these kind of community clubs.
Yeah.
And of course, the big bucket list desert to drive in was in the empty quarter.
Yeah.
But to reach there, you have to start small. So it was first a lot of the Sharjah deserts around بدأت, but then also Swayhan. And then slowly you get closer and closer, Al-Kowa, and then eventually we did the crossing through Liwa with the car. And I remember that's when I said, this is so nice. but because of the car, it's almost taking a little bit away of the magic of the sense. So that's when I looked into ways of how could I actually get here without a car. And at the same time, how did the people used to get here without a car? Because of course, the UAE has a long history, but a short history of cars and all of this. So it seemed very close, like people that would still be around would remember times of no cars and having to travel differently. So I was really intrigued, and I wanted to discover this this element. And that's then when I searched for camel tracks, and eventually did the heritage trek that happens every year from we started in the empty quarter and reached all the way to Dubai in 2 weeks on the camel. And I guess that was a little bit transformation. 2019, because then I realized actually the desert is incredible, but the fact that the camels can cross the desert is even more special. And that's when I thought, I want to continue doing it. I didn't want it to be just one trip that is, ticked it off a bucket list and move on to the next adventure. No, it was more like, this is the beginning, and how can I sustain discovering deserts on camel? Maybe less distance, maybe then the parameters are different, right? You don't necessarily want to go high or fast or super far, but with the camel. And at the same time, I realized people around me became also interested in activities involving camels and learning about the camels. And that's when slowly we I searched for a place or a person to do this together with, because as a German with very little camel or local knowledge of this world of camels, I wanted to definitely partner up with someone. And it took a while to find the person to do this with. And then in 2020, end of 2020, just as COVID sort of things eased up, I was introduced to Abed Al-Farasi, and after having spoken to different people, he was the first one who said, I think this makes perfect sense. We need to build a platform, a place, and a program for people to learn about the camels in different formats. Riding, care, racing. And that's when we started to build our camel riding school, which is now called the Arabian Desert Camel Riding Center. So long story, but this is how we started.
You know what? I like how you mentioned the empty quarter and Liwa and all of this, because this is where you and I have a lot of common things. I love Liwa. No matter what, whenever I am down, if I don't feel good, if I feel I need to recharge, I pack myself and I go to Liwa.
And when you come to this road, you're like, everything.
I feel like at peace. I feel like, okay, I can reconnect with myself. This is what the desert gives me. Although, like a lot of people say it's hot, it's bad, it's sandy, but honestly, there's something powerful about Liwa sands. That gives you that energy.
Yes, it's very grounding, and
grounding.
almost like it's saying it's gonna be okay, because this desert has been there all the time. So
and the stories. When you reflect about the people who went through all of these years, you think how many stories around these dunes, how many stories, how many things have happened here, and then you bring the camel into the picture. Like for me, I'm not gonna lie, like I was very fascinated when my friend told me that you are so obsessed with the camel, and I was like, this German lady, she is here, this is not part of her culture, and she's obsessed with the camel and the desert, and now she's creating this platform to let even our own people to get the opportunity to reconnect again with this beautiful creature, but at the same time with nature.
It's the camel was not on my agenda, and even people ask, were you already into camels in Germany? I'm like, I don't even have a very significant memory of seeing a camel in a zoo and thinking, wow, how great. No, absolutely not. I think definitely it's only came into the picture here, and even not with much intention. I think it was sort of a means to an end. I wanted to go to the desert without the car, so I had to substitute, took the camel to do the job, but actually it did a lot more than just the job. And yeah, I think the world has become very fast paced. We have full agendas, we get up early, work, exercise, social life, family, and then again, and it's just the desert and the camels. I always say what I like about the desert, especially in the UAE, is that literally nothing moves. It's so still. There's not even a plant swinging in the wind. It's like as if you're in a picture. It's just very static, and that gives us almost this kind of, like you said, you calm down a bit, put a bit of pause to it, and camels have this sort of vibe of longevity, right? Just to be calm, don't stress, because maybe tomorrow this little issue doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah. So that's, I think, what drew me towards them, and in a way, I felt they're often a bit almost underappreciated. Maybe not in the community here, because you all obviously know how valuable camels are to building the country and to the survival, essentially. Yeah. But maybe around the world, it had almost negative stigma, and then it became the tourist attraction. I'm like, no. There's a lot more in between. So all our programs with the riding school, and that's why I always stress that it's a riding school, is you have to come with the intention to learn, not just pure entertainment. Obviously, you should have fun and you want you to go home with good memories, but we don't have 5-minute rides.
I love that. I love the fact that you're so focused on
and maybe you also starting businesses, maybe you tell me it's a really bad idea. There's a lot more money in tourism potentially because it's a big audience, right? Lots of visitors come to the UAE. But I'm a little bit stubborn when it comes to this, because I really want to drive there's a more of a long-term goal, that people understand that you can actually really learn how to ride and connect to the camel, and make it your own hobby. Yeah. No matter what's your background. Now we have people owning camels from the UK, from the Netherlands, and they take care of them.
I love it.
So we suddenly have camels in livery, which people really connecting, taking responsibility. So that's I love this development, and that it's a bit of a movement almost, that we all on board to. And nothing new. Like, I don't think I'm inventing anything new, but we just want to resurface maybe a little.
I think, Linda, you're not inventing anything new, but you are gutsy. You have the guts. I'll tell you something, like what I'm learning from this conversation so far. You basically did, I am, as an Emirati, I'm so honored that you chose this field, although it's far away from your society and upbringing, because you fall in love with it, but in the same time, you don't want it to be perceived or presented as something you do for a photo.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. And I feel like this is something so special about people that, call the UAE home and embrace where they are, the culture. I'll tell you, I know a lot of people, they don't open up very quickly to the cultural ecosystem, the people, the environment, This requires someone with guts who is very interested to learn about other things. And the fact that you're not only have opened the school to help people learn about the sports and this, very important, majestic animal in our culture, but you also are changing perceptions. You are introducing people from all walks of life, including Emiratis,
Yeah.
that you can't just look at the camel as a form of mobility and that's it.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
Yes, definitely. And it's there's so many side effects almost of the camel and this center in a way.
Yeah.
Like, yes, people go home with, or our students go home with ability to ride, but it's so surprising now that I'm so stuck in this camel world. It's I came here to Abu Dhabi. I'm like, how do I navigate this many buildings and doors? Abdallah had to help me to find the door because I'm so now a little bit removed from the urban life almost.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the people who come to the school, they escape this urban life and they say, it's been forever. I took my shoes off walking in the sand, or and even from a more Emirati community point of view, they drink karak and like, I didn't know this is the tea in the morning, and in the afternoon it's the red tea, or they learn a few Arabic words, which is great. And some say, it's just really surprising. It's always fun for me and Abed when they meet Abed. Some of them, it's the first time they meet an Emirati, so they're like, wow, I finally met an Emirati person. And I want this to not the people living here or tourists coming to the UAE. I want them to I just want to be the channel. Like, this is the UAE. This is the people of the UAE. This is a sport and a tradition here that you can all be part of. And you should learn a little bit the language, not be intimidated by it, but rather the opposite. And then I realized people start embracing the UAE even more, because now they do something that is truly connected to this land, that they can potentially only do here or in a country where camels are such an element of the everyday life. And so this is what I mean with side effects. You bring people together, and like on the other way around too, we bring now maybe some perspectives from outside also to the world of camels, which then wasn't really there before. It was a very unified Emirati sport.
How is the Emirati community embracing you being part of this, ecosystem? Because this is obviously a very hardcore Emirati thing. So how has it been for you, even as a female?
Yes. I remember, like I mentioned before, that in the beginning, I felt like it was really hard to break into it. But not because people didn't want me there. I remember, especially in 2020, I had a lot of time because my hospitality work was on hold, basically. So I was driving around farms, and I learned how it would be written if there's like a farm for rent or for sale, so that because they'd write it in Arabic. But all I could find was halak bosh, so it was only the one who cuts the hair of the camels. So couldn't find really any farm advertisements for rent or for sale. So I kept driving around, and the farms, even if the doors were open, you wouldn't just go inside and be like, hey guys, you have a spare corner. The ones who were outside, they always had something to do, like they were training the camels, focusing on them. So it was very hard to just start even a conversation. So it needed to happen a little bit through introductions. But then once we were there and I found someone where I can ride, people would suddenly stop and like, why are you riding camels? And then
and they're surprised.
Yes, but in a friendly way and very open way. So I think it was a good start in a way to start to feel included and to see the interest and curiosity, and I think because we took it very serious from the beginning, it was also perceived very well. So there was a plan. We had the official clubs authorized also to and aware that we are doing this. We are having now as a riding school is we didn't want to put it in a position that it's some unofficial backyard hobby thing. No, it's like, no. We have programs and the paperwork in place, and we thought about it, how we want to do the activities and classes so that people learn safely. And now I think, 4 years in, now the people come to us, they're like, how can I get on board? How can I get you train the jockeys? I have a good camel. We want to participate together.
So mixed backgrounds, Emirati and non-Emirati, they come to you for this.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
amazing.
So we are like a linking pin in a way. So
where is the club located?
So we're based in Al Marmoum, which is on Al Ain Road. I think on the map it's Liseli, but we say Al Marmoum.
Yeah. So, easy for people to get to where it is.
Yes. Yeah. And we had a place also in Abu Dhabi, in Al Wasba. So we have to set up near to the camel tracks, and Al Wasba is also obviously the center for Abu Dhabi. Now we paused it for the summer, but we're still hoping to expand. We need more schools, basically.
So anyone can come to the school, different age range. Like, how is it? Tell me a little bit more about the programs and who can actually come. Like, like can I bring my son, for example?
Yeah, depends how old he is, but in general, we don't really have an age restriction. We have, for example, Wednesdays, 2 kids riding, 8 and 10.
Okay.
The 10-year-old goes on his own,
nice.
managing his camels. So obviously specific camels we only give them, but it's really nice to see that with the camel, it's not a video about the strength. So the physical strength, so to say, we have 10-year-olds who are obviously never gonna physically restrain that camel, but they've learned a technique, and the camels are trained to accept obviously our leadership as a rider, and they are firm. So the assertion, I think, is more important than physical strength on a camel. So 10-year-olds learn how to ride and even run. We have one girl, she's 10, she's cantering 500 meters now.
Wow.
It takes obviously practice and dedication and a bit of courage, and age up until, I think we had, even the oldest was 68 still riding. So it's a little bit for everyone, but our main age range is definitely young adults, so they can come because you need a car to reach us. And we do have more women than men.
Really?
Yes. So it seems maybe it's my fault.
But you know what? I like the fact that you have such a diverse age range, which means it's such a good thing to do as a family. So the whole family can go and actually learn together. There's such a quality time and learning.
I agree. Yeah, actually, the children I mentioned today, they always come with their grandmother, and she used to like tag along and ride a little bit.
That's so nice.
And people really share it as a family, like you said, or come individually. And the common story is often that someone comes and says, I really tried to bring my friends, but they're not into it, so here I am alone. And then they make new friends through the school. Because it's, of course, like every hobby, it's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but it's very easy to start, I think. So we have a booking system, so I like to keep things a little bit digital, and people can reach us without even having to talk to me or call. And then you would just book basically a beginner class. Now in this time of year, we would ride at 6 a.m. in the morning and 5:30 in the evening. So we're very dependent on sunrise and sunset throughout
Which is also
the year.
the best time to ride, because you get to see so many nice things if you go out.
Exactly. So sunrise or just before Maghrib is nice. You ride for an hour, and we start with teaching you how to literally sit on the camel, but you'd be trotting already in your first class. And then we want you to also learn a little bit the expressions of the camels, because for other animals we're familiar, like a dog wiggles his tail when he's happy, or the horse, people know when the ears are forward, it's interested. But with the camel, people are like, but what's he trying to tell me? I don't get it. So we want to give people a bit of insight also in just how does a camel express himself, how to approach them safely, and so on. And because when we know their expression, we can communicate. And then you can keep coming basically and build that strength and the physical ability, because it is a bit of a workout at the end of the day. And then you'd be graduating to riding on your own, so that you control the camel entirely. And then it's up to you if you want to increase your ability in speed or more in distance. And then in winter we do some travels and camping trips, so you ride a bit longer and do exactly what I initially wanted to do, is discover more deserts, do some crossings. So we've done like small trips from Al-Faga to Shuaib, or Al-Habab to Meleha. So we, try to create little itineraries. And now, since it's very hot in summer, we're doing a virtual trek from our school to Qasr al-Hassan. So it's 160 kilometers. So people are collecting the kilometers throughout the summer, and then it's as if they reach to Abu Dhabi. And maybe in the future we can do the actual trip as well.
You said something really interesting earlier, but we couldn't touch base on it all. Like you said that there are a lot of women interested. Can you tell me more about that?
I don't know if it's because of me, because I'm a woman, the way I present the concept, or what is the reason. But I feel women enjoy the company of animals, I think, and the nature in such a way. And then when you bring women together and they're comfortable, they bring more women. And then suddenly it's a thing, So we did highlight a bit the women, especially when it comes to the races, where that's the only part where we say the race team is female only. So maybe that also spilled over a little bit in the overall concept. And it's really a center in a way where women can anchor and explore the camels, and where you don't feel weird or it's your space in a way. So, and I think the community, or the when you're a group, you just feel more comfortable. Like I remember being around, like I said, searching for farms on my own. I'm like, I'm really the only woman here. And now when we go out, you don't really feel like you're the only one anymore, which is you feel happy. And I enjoy a lot training the ladies, because since we're small, yes, we race against each other in the competitions, but in training, it's really important for me that we're working as a team and support each other and encourage one another, and that we celebrate each one's win. Like, it's still a win for the team. So of course we are competitive, and in a good way, because it gets us all better. But the important thing is still actually the bigger picture in a way. In the beginning, at least, we felt like we had to prove a point. We had to show in a way like women can do it in a safe way, in a consistent way, and that we can have so much fun doing it, and that we want actually others to enjoy it as well. So now, I'm not sure if you heard about our racing series, the C1 Championship. It's 4 to 5 races in the season, where the jockeys collect points, and then you have one overall winner. And in the first years, like we would always share, like, come watch us race and so on. And now it grew to, I think last year we had more than 500 people watching a 3-minute race came all the way, driving 1 hour to Malmö to see the ladies team.
Wow, that's amazing.
So what I like about this is that it's just we try to keep it very inclusive. You can participate not just through riding, but also by being a fan, basically.
Yeah.
And some people say it's all the women empowerment is not really, again, something that I think about when I wake up. I'm like, I need to find ways to make it better for women. Not really. I think this is it comes naturally, and I guess even in the UAE, we are so lucky that we stop thinking about it, because there are not many places where you, as a woman, get the feeling that you can't because you are a woman. It's almost you can because you are a woman. It's almost the opposite.
I always say that women in the UAE, honestly, we are so lucky. And not only Emirati women in general. Honestly, we are so blessed with the opportunities we have, and also the fact that people can embrace our ideas.
Yes,
whatever
100%.
We bring to the table.
I really agree with this, and I've had that in the workplace, and I feel that even now is our ideas, like you said, they're not dismissed. But because you are a woman, it's not gonna work. No, it's almost that we don't differentiate this from an intellectual point of view, from ability. Not at all. It's very supportive. Actually, almost the opposite. I feel sometimes bad for the men, because we I think if I was it helped me being a woman opening this center. I think because people felt like, oh, this is great, and maybe she needs some help, and people reach out to tell the story, and that's what boosted me or our project as a whole.
I know that for a fact for you, it's also very important to bring cultures together. How are your friends and family in Germany think about this? Do they think you're crazy? Or do you think?
Maybe they do. They just don't tell me. It's. I think in the beginning it was very hard for them to understand, really, and it. I think for my mom, when she came, it's when she got it. She's like, "Oh wow, now this all makes a little bit more sense."
And she tried? Did she try riding?
Yeah, I got her on a camel.
Yes!
So it was very funny, because she came with a friend, and she said, no, I will not ride. So I took only 2 camels, one for me and one for her friend.
Yeah.
And then when we were just about to go into the dunes, I asked one more time, you sure you don't want to try? And then her friend kept pushing. So eventually they ended up on the camel, and I was walking.
They took your camel.
Yes. Yeah. But no, it's, I think it's important to embrace the culture, but I'm always very cautious to not do things that I don't know, and then assume this is how it is, and then I advocate for something that it's not true. So first, I spend a lot just observing myself, and learning so much. And I love this about the Emirati culture, that there's so many little things in how you serve the coffee, or the dates, or
all the etiquettes.
Exactly. So I just observed a lot, spent some time, asked questions, and found it so interesting. And now I enjoy passing that on a little bit. But I always say, like, I'm still Linda the German, and the best way to explain is always someone from the UAE. But for example, on the farm, especially now in summer, you'll find me wearing the jalabia.
Please send us some of these photos. I wanna put it in the episode just to show.
Yeah, and it's very practical, So in the beginning, I was very shy, because I didn't even have an idea of, is this a old school jalabia, or is this a modern design, or is this someone, maybe an older lady would wear, or this is the designs of someone. So I was very shy to just pick something, because it might look like wrong in a way, or just not fitting. So I'm very grateful for all my friends, the Emirati friends of mine who said, you can use this one, or this one is good. No, but this shape is old. This is for someone when you are 20 years older, you can. So I love that now I can differentiate all these things a little bit. And that gave me then the confidence to just put on the jalabiya and go out. And then again, people they ask, oh, this looks nice, where did you get it? And then now I can be a little bit the teacher for the others and say, this shop has good fabric. And then this is where you bring it to the tailor. So it's all these little things that in the beginning, when you're not exposed, they seem a little foreign, a little intimidating. You don't know, is it right if I start wearing it, or is somebody offended if I wear it? So I think the best way is to just ask a lot of questions and then just really enjoy it, and with an honest motivation behind it. So
I know that you've spent some time in the desert, like 14 days, or correct me if I'm wrong. But during this time when you were in the desert, like, what was going on your mind? What, like, I know it changed you as an individual.
Yeah, it's this 14 days. I think is very personal for many reasons. The timing. I was so convinced that I have to do this trip, and I said it months before. I said, even if it costs me my job, I will ride this 14 days. And then this is what happened. It cost me my job, because it was not possible to take a holiday. So I try to be smart. I planned to change jobs, and tell them that the new job, I already have something booked, and I'm going to have to be on this trip. Eventually, this new job was just not a good fit for the company and for me. So the probation ended just 2 days before we were going on to start our trip. And I knew this was going to come. This is the first time that this probation won't be extended, and it's, the end. So I left, of course, first a little bit confused and devastated. I'm like, wow, I'm actually jobless, and this is not. But then I thought, I have something to do. I have to be on this trip. It's exactly what I said is going to happen. It's going to cost me my job. So we have to be careful with our words. But I went on this trip also in a way of like, I'm actually very free now. It's like square one, or a new turn the page and new a blank page. So I thought, I'll take a notebook. I'm going to have all these ideas and reflections, and I'm going to write down so many things. But when we were riding from the morning, took a lunch break, and all afternoon until the night. And the first day we stopped for lunch under a tree. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. We have some shade. So I thought they picked the perfect spot. So I sort of expected we'd always stop when there's trees. It was the last time we saw a tree. Because you're in the desert. And so I realized actually that there's not much to think about. You have a blue sky, and then different shades of sands, colors, and you have your camel, and you have the camel in front of you. And I don't know the route. I don't know how long it will be today. And I don't have to know. I just have to follow for once. I have to make no decisions. I have, I don't know, a few outfits in my bag. So we have to choose one of this little choice we have. There was like only a small mirror. Like you had very little time to even sort of look at yourself and think. So many things stopped mattering. It didn't matter. Driving your car and stop next to another car and think like, oh, this is a nice car. There was nothing. It was just your camel. We all were the same suddenly. Like all our positions, like you said before, it didn't matter. Where is our house didn't matter. Like, oh, you live in this area. It's a very nice area. I still have a small studio here. No, it just, there's no comparing anymore to all these parameters that we seem to built around our our social
it consumes our life.
Exactly,
consumes our brain.
And it's very exhausting if you decide on so many things every day, or pass judgment on certain elements. So it was such a it gave me the chance to really think of nothing in a way, but only, is my camel okay? Because if he's not okay,
you're done.
So that was really, that notebook came pretty empty to the track, and it left the track empty because I actually had very little ideas and thoughts. I just enjoyed doing nothing in a way, and but what I did take away is really that the essential things in life is really, who are you with, having a place to rest, and of course feed yourself so that you can physically continue, but everything else is just noise, and this I think helped after, because I did the trek in end of 19. I took a bit of time after that to think about what I wanted to do, and when I had made the choice that I'll work again in hospitality, COVID came. So
it was like a sign.
So and then I think the resilience of this trip helped me to get through 2020 with this uncertainty, where I wasn't really sure, am I still meant to be in the UAE, or should I go back home? And I think this the desert, and the fact that it's been here and it's going to be there tomorrow, and it was there so many years, it gave me this kind of sense of calm. We don't have, like, what's one day really, or what's even 1 year? If it's a tough year, it's still only such a fraction of the big picture. So and I think this helped me to approach challenges in a way. So also with the riding school, like, it's not gonna, doesn't build itself. It doesn't build itself in a day. It's always a bit ups and downs.
And this is with also entrepreneurship in general, like when people come to me and say, oh, Kauthar, you are in the best rooms, you are in the best events, you're in the best stages. I said, by the way, entrepreneurship is not as glamorous as you think. I might be in the right rooms, in the right events and all of that, but there's a lot of up and down. You just need to be, very strong, very focused. And so I think you should organize another 14-day trip and let me know when you do that.
You want to come along?
I don't mind. I've never ever, I'm a horse rider, but I've never ever actually rode a camel for distance. This sounds fascinating.
I think you should come when we have to plan a trip.
And honestly, like, how epic will it be if you plan something, even imagine in Germany, you plan something in Germany with camels.
There are some camels in Germany, mainly for livestock at the moment. But it's very interesting because some of the German camel owners come now here, and I send them back with riding gear. I said, go teach your camels
or we can take our camels from here, like we take our horses.
So I think in terms of trips, there's definitely still a lot that we can do, and I hope that as we grow the rider community, other people join in and say, so that I can be a participant. I always it's obviously nice to plan things because you can do them the way you want. But what I really like too is to actually be only that one riding the camel, just like I did in 2019. And I'm still actually looking for resources for people who could tell me a little bit about the old routes, because that's really still something I
mysterious.
know. Very mysterious in a way. And I think maybe now we still have a few people who would remember, but as the years pass, it's only going to be stories or written somewhere.
We need documentation, but we need documentation for navigation purposes.
And that maybe I'm a little bit too nostalgic about this, or have almost a bit of a romance of the old days. But it's just I think we could. It's very enriching, like you said, to to do something very simple and maybe a little bit connected to the past. Not all the time. Like I'm so happy with my house and that I come by car. I don't and all the assets and the things that make our life easy. But to do something with Camels and a little hardship, it always brings a lot of appreciation and gratitude back into our life. And I think that's a good foundation to continue. And we should be innovative, 100%. So even in the Camels, there's elements traditional, and there's elements where I think like, could we do it better because now we have more materials or better access. So I think it's always nice to have balance between the old and a few new ideas.
I think, Linda, I want to know from you, how can the community support you? When I say the community, I mean individuals, families, organizations, partners, sponsors. How can they support this amazing initiative or this amazing club? Because this is something, if you talk to me on a personal level, it's so critical. It's so important for our national identity, for us to, bring different communities into our culture and vice versa, for us to connect to nature and, to our background. This is for me even critical for mental health. There's so many things when I look at this business that you've created or the community that you've created. But the big question is the elephant in the room. How can people support?
Yeah, thank you for asking me this question. Because it's very critical to sustain, right? As a small business, I take a lot of value from people walking away with more happiness and more like feeling good and connected and all the values as we mentioned before. But I can only do it if I can still pay to feed my camels and my team and also myself. So one way is of course participate. So book the classes. This is obviously because it will be a direct exchange. Like I can offer my services and I'm being reimbursed for that. In terms of programs and big dreams that I have is from an institution or from individuals who can help facilitate local trips. I think this is where I sometimes lack literally the manpower or even the knowledge of the desert, the details. So we were a little bit limited with our trips locally to just do 1 or 2 days. And this is where now I'm looking to. Abu Dhabi has the bigger deserts, but that's where I have a little bit less, let's say, boots on the ground. So, and I keep talking to people I meet and say, how much do you know about the desert? Could you help us plan a route? So that's what I'd love to do. And then, of course, tell about this trip and frame it into a bigger picture and say, it shouldn't just be a one-off. I'd love to do this more often. And it can be, again, it can have a commercial side to it. I don't want to do all the things just entirely for free because I'm running a business. And I think people are willing to pay for it too. Just as they go on a hiking trip and they climb Kilimanjaro, they can consider a crossing of the desert as something that they want to do to test their own ability, but also in a way that is relevant and local. So this kind of elements, I think we can still, where I feel I don't have enough knowledge and where I need a bigger team.
I feel like so many organizations and even government entities could have so much interest in the school and the program. Like I can imagine, I'm imagining, for example, the Ministry of Education or Adduk, working with you on a program for extracurriculum for kids, for example. I'm looking at like organizations that are focused on the social sector to bring families together, into activations and like programs. I look at people who have troubled past, want to reintegrate in society. There's so many opportunities. The people need to find you and you need to find them.
Yeah, it's very true. And all these programs are so relevant, like you said, and I feel like I would need actually 5 centers probably to do all of this. and maybe centers with different focus points. And especially in Abu Dhabi, we had a base running, but I was not entirely happy with the facilities. And we start very small. We call it the bootstrap, right? It's no real investor that was behind it that said, here's a chunk of money, build yourself a riding school. No, we said, here's 4 camels.
Yeah.
Let's just start and see who's coming.
Yeah.
And then we added a little more facilities, and then we improved a bit the farm. And in Abu Dhabi, the intention was to do the same, but it was just not really moving as smoothly. I was being spoiled by what we built in 4 years, and then I looked at the new start in Abu Dhabi and I said, why is it not yet as Dubai? And of course, it's impossible to compare. So there's I think a big audience, definitely, and you're right. I have to still connect with the right people to bring it to.
I think what I want to say to our Abu Dhabi community from this conversation is that, you know what, يفزعون, you know, الفزعة. They need to step up and, you know, see if they have locations, they have Camel, they do, how they can work with you and collaborate with you. I know there are. They are. That's what I'm saying. I hope that this podcast will connect people together, will bring you guys together. That's one. And the second thing is navigators. I know there are young navigators who have learned about these routes from their grandparents and dads and stuff. Or older generation. I want to encourage them through this podcast. We'll put all your details and the club details,
please,
to reach out. And, you know, this is a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I know that our Emirati community and our diverse community would love to support.
Thank you so much.
We just need to get you more out there, Linda. We need to get you more out there.
Yeah, and I love how you call these roles, a navigator. And I just think there's so much richness, and every time, like you said, people actually know all of these things. It's just connecting the dots, I think, and then I hope we can just keep growing this, the riding, the participation, and the that is just stays alive, and then people keep enjoying it.
Do you remember the name of the camel you rode in your 14 days trip?
Yes.
What was the name?
Shaheen. So very, very generic camel name, but he was definitely a special one.
Shaheen. So send a message to Shaheen. What would you say? Can you say it in Arabic, or that's going to be a struggle for you?
What, the message?
Message to Shaheen, the camel that changed your life.
I was searching for him actually to maybe bring him to our farm. ما أدري وين شاهين الحين بس إن شاء الله بشوفه مرة ثانية. إن
شاء الله شاهين يكون عندك. إن شاء الله. Thank you.
Thank you.